This is Groundwork Talk, June 6th, 2008, podcast number 5. Hi, my name is Mark Allison.
And I'm Jonathan Vickberg. Welcome to Groundwork Talk, our podcast for therapists.
Something that's come up for me a lot with clients recently has been The Secret, the video. And I really didn't know much about it, but the more my clients began bringing it into session about it, I decided to watch it myself. And I always thought it might be a topic we could talk a little bit about, what we think about it and how that may be good or maybe not good for the therapeutic process.
Sure, and I'd be interested in hearing more your experience with it. I haven't talked to a lot of clients about it, but I certainly see it as something that it's been, a big pop culture phenomenon too. A lot of people have been talking about The Secret, and I could see how it certainly could come into therapy.
So really, just to give you a little overview of what The Secret is, it's become this pop culture phenomena now, and most people watch it as a DVD and really take it as this new thing. But really, it's based on something from a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, which was written in the 1950s, which talks about this idea of positive thinking, of visualization, and kind of this so kind of manifesting type thought. There was also a book by Napoleon Hill in the 1960s called Think and Grow Rich, which is actually the book starts off by saying there's a secret to the way successful people have reached these places, and they know this secret. And if you read this book, you will learn that very secret. And it's pretty much the way the movie starts. And
it sounds similar to, I'm thinking of in the 60s when daily affirmations were big. And if I, say this every day, or more of a mantra type of thing, then I will realize that.
Right. So on the one hand, I think some of the fundamental concepts of positive thinking are fine and can be good even in the therapeutic process, which is to have a sense of hope, maybe to think positive about certain things, or to think of things as they already are occurring or their outcomes. But I think the danger that I from watching the video that I saw, or the part that may short circuit some of the therapeutic work, is The Secret really takes it a step further and simply makes it into this very commercial thing where it's like, if you want a red Corvette, then just think about the red Corvette every day and look at those photographs, and it'll somehow manifest. And so it becomes this very almost like magical thinking.
Okay. And then if people don't get that red Corvette, then you found that they get really disappointed and then they stop believing in that magical thinking?
I think, and I think maybe even more than they stop believing, I think they just get stuck.
Okay.
I think the video is so compelling, the way it's done, that they don't actually think that the technique is wrong. They just think that they're not able to do it.
Oh, so then they blame themselves that that's not working.
Yeah, and that's what I've kind of find it recently coming up in the therapy, setting where, a client will begin to bring up The Secret all of a sudden in the middle of our session, and it just feels a bit of a disconnect.
And again, I wonder for each person what The Secret would mean to them, and then if they do get at that stuck place, how then I could see that doing one of two things, either being a springboard into maybe other topics, or really the therapy starting to explore, or maybe getting so stuck in that I'm disappointed The Secret didn't work. Now I feel like a failure.
Right. And that's kind of what I wonder about. I think, I'm sure there's some benefit to it.
Sure.
I think the unfortunate part is there are these previous books that discuss the topic in a much more in-depth way, which puts more power to the individual.
Right.
One of the things that I found that The Secret left out, they talk about if you believe in something, if you fully believe it, and you think about it, it happens. But actually the books look like Powers of Intention by Wayne Dyer, or Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. They say something similar, but they also say it requires tremendous amount of mastery and practice in the middle. So, which is, to me, the key thing. Without a plan and mastering it, or something, working on something, maybe that visual, maybe that manifesting part may not happen. And it feels
Right.
like The Secret probably left that out. And it's unfortunate because I think it really leaves people thinking with this kind of magical thinking that if I just believe something, that's enough.
Well, it begs the question, too, that when do we become a master of it? I mean, how do you know that you've mastered it?
Right.
I mean, I guess if you've put out your intentions and you start to reap the benefits, then maybe so. But what if you don't get something? Or what if,
Right.
you're not, all of your intentions are put out there and you don't reap the rewards? Am I a failure? And that would seem like a great conversation for therapy to really explore that and go from there. But I haven't seen the video. I'll have to check it out. But
Sure.
I know that I've seen and heard about The Secret so much. It's become, just everywhere. You see it in the bookstores. Oprah had talked about it. I mean, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of something I think that's, now that it's reaching such large populations, maybe it is important enough for us as therapists to look into it and to know kind of what is the pop culture about, the pop psychology culture doing out there as maybe influencing our clients in our practice.
Absolutely. And it really relates to another larger topic that all the time there's new self-help books that are out there or the new pop thing. And I mean, I'm thinking of
The
Artist's
Way.
I'm thinking of The Artist Way. I'm thinking of so many books, When Bad Things Happen to Good People from the 70s. I mean, there's all of these books that all of those can be such the hot topic of the time. And all of a sudden, a client might come in, or even I'm thinking personally, where it's like, this is the answer. If only I had that before.
Right.
And how does that hot topic fit into therapy? Or how do you as an individual not feel disappointed when, that wasn't the secret answer?
While the information in a self-help book can be very useful, it's a standardized template. It has it doesn't respond to the client. So the client may read it and may the client may read it and find some things that are helpful, but they actually have no way or means to really see the feedback of how they're doing with that.
I can think of another example that so many times we talk about 12-step programs and it being a wonderful thing for addicts or for, so many different issues. However, I know that I've heard many people say that once they go into the 12-step program, that it serves them so well up to a point, but then maybe they've needed to expand that to go to therapy or maybe read some books or do other things in adjunct with it.
Right, and augmenting it.
Yeah, same thing with the self-help.
One of the things that I really like to do is to slow things down in therapy. Because I think, in our culture, we have a habit of speeding everything up, glossing over things. We live in that nanosecond society. You and I talk a lot about in our previous podcasts about, the new technology and speeding through things. But therapy is the one place where I like to slow things really down. So even if somebody brings in a book, Powers of Intention or The Secret, my way of looking at that would be there's something that the client's trying to tell me. There's some meaning behind them bringing that in. And so that's something to explore is the meaning behind them bringing something in. Maybe the therapy, they're not getting what they feel they need from the therapy. Or maybe they're feeling a need to augment it or whatever it might be. So in a way, I can interpret that in itself.
And that sounds like that would be a more psychodynamic approach and going from that sense. I can think from the other way of more of a postmodern way might be to use that or to bring that in and think, this is what you want your therapy to be about. So there might be, several different ways to look at that. Maybe this is a good time to mention to our listeners that we would like to hear from you. We're putting out ideas and thoughts more for discussion than it to be the truth. I mean, it's just it's more of a brainstorm and to pose some ideas out there. But we really want to hear from you. So please send us an email to groundworktalk@gmail.com because we want to get your feedback and we'd certainly like to have some information that then we can post on future podcasts and get feedback from other listeners as well.
Right.
On that note, this seems like a pretty good time to wrap up today's podcast. But please, I just want to reiterate, we'd love to hear from you. So please continue to send in your comments. Let us know, because we want to make this a collaborative podcast for therapists.
So that about